What's up, shawties? It's Ashley Hardy, and today we are back with another video, and we are going to be talking about how we started off the year. January is over. We are in the second month. It is now officially February, and I want to go over how my first month of 2026 went and where I plan to pick up next. Let's get into it. Is it just me, or did January seem like it came, it went, I'm here, but it's a lot going on? It felt like a very long month, but a very quick month all at the same time. I don't know. It could just be me. I actually wanted to do something a little different this year. Every year I do set goals. I do not do New Year's resolutions, New Year, New Me, but I do be intentional about setting goals. But one thing I wanted to do a little different this year was not only just set the goals, but also create a strategic plan on how I was going to obtain the goals. Set goals quarterly. I was not just looking at the entire 2026 and say, for instance, I want to eat healthy. No, sounds good, but how was I going to actually obtain that goal? Focus on the first quarter of the year, and the quarters are measured out by every 3 months. So the first quarter of the year is January, February, and March, right? The first 3 months. So within those 3 months, I was very realistic. I said, what is my priority that I wanted to focus on for the start of the year? I did not put all of my goals in one basket and said, okay, let's get it done. Because in reality, life happens, right? We have a lot going on, at least for me. I have a lot going on, and trying to focus on a million different goals all at once, it's just not realistic. And I have done that before and have failed miserably. I've looked back at the end of that year and was like, what did I do? What did I actually obtain? What did I reach? So I say, you know what? To make it more obtainable and stress free, let's be very intentional to only focus on a few goals at a time. I set out goals and I made sure that I always have categories. So the categories I like to do one for like professionally, I like to do one for my marriage, I like to do one as a mother, I like to do one for spiritual growth, and in those categories, I then will build from there. So one goal I actually want to share with you all is stewardship. One thing that I really wanted to put before God and not just put it on myself, because remember, we're becoming fearless, we're breaking down barriers, and we're trusting God more. So, with stewardship, I learned that one of the areas in my life that I have been struggling with and why certain things continue to repeat cycles is because I was not doing a good job of stewarding the blessings that God has given me. So I made sure that that was a priority this year. Stewardship is basically you being responsible, but how you are managing it, how are you planning for it, how are you taking care of it? So one thing that I learned a few years ago, this is before we moved into the home that we have now. We were in our first home we bought, and at the time we only had two children and they were young, I believe at the ages of four 4 and 1 at the time. Yes, 4 and 1. We were seeking God for a new home, one with more space, a better area. We had a whole list of demands and what our non-negotiables were for this new home. And in that season, it was very rough. If you ever looked for a home, bought a home, you know the process can be gruesome because there's a lot involved. There are a lot of moving pieces. They want your whole business, your life, everything, okay? And so within that, it took us a very long time. We were searching high and low for a home, and it just seems like it just kept feeling like a fail, right? We were searching, we were praying, we are like, God, please show us the home. This also was during the time of COVID. So as you know, 2020, 2021, things were chaotic, things were shut down, things were all over the place, and so was the housing market. So, guess what I started to do? Prepare as if I was moving. I said, you know what? I can't be sitting here squandering, even though I'm looking, but I'm not preparing for the move. There was a lot of different things we still needed to organize, a lot of different things we still needed to declutter, a lot of different things we just needed to prepare in general our current home to move for the next home. And so that is one thing that I forever carried with me. When it's time for a new season, how are you preparing? God brought that back to my memory. How am I preparing for these goals that I set for this year? And one of those ways that I did to prepare to reach those goals was, of course, I wrote me a list. Fun fact about me, if you have not realized yet from watching these videos, I love me a good list. Now, a list is not just to say, oh, I did it, but it also helps me have something to go back to and track and be able to check off. I like to be able to check it off, whether it's on my phone or whether it's in a notepad. And I still love me a good notepad, a lot of journals. I still like to go and handwrite them out. It's something about that that makes it even more official. So, I list my goals, and then from there, for each goal that I set under stewardship, I then said, how am I going to obtain that goal? I set realistic goals for each one, and I am happy to report that January was a very successful month. It also showed some very ugly habits that was created, but I'm very happy to say that with the systems I put in place to help me track and be aware of the areas I wanted to improve, I'm still on track. I'm doing well. I challenge you to check in with your goals. If you did not set any goals, how about you set some goals today? Set some goals this month. It's not too late. The beginning of the year is still here. We are only officially in the second month, and it's never too late to evaluate areas in your life that you would like to refine, retune, or refresh. It is definitely okay to always reset. And that's what I'm here to just encourage you to do. As I am looking over the goals that I set for this year and making sure that I'm staying on track and making sure that I am still in focus and I am being consistent, I encourage you to do the same. With consistency, there is a lot of gains. And I know sometimes we are looking for the end of the road so quickly. We do not want to go through the journey. We do not want to be on the long road waiting for the blessing at the end. But unfortunately, we have to wait. There is patience that's involved. There is always seasons of preparation, then seasons of growth, and then seasons of harvest. So, in this season of growth that I am currently in, I am truly trying to be intentional, to be patient, even though it's hard, but to be patient and to be mindful of what things God has already blessed me with and how I can better manage and steward those things that He has given me. So if you have not done it, what we going to do? Yes, we're going to go back, we're going to review our goals, and we're going to check in. This is a personal check in. Where are you so far? Now that we are in the second month of this year. And I encourage you, if you have not tried it, test it out to see how can focusing only on one or two goals for the first quarter of the year, so for the first 3 months of the year, can help you better manage and be consistent to obtain some goals. Remember, this is not a race. This is a journey. So it's going to take time. You have to have patience and you have to enjoy the small wins. My small win is that I am still on track. I have been very consistent and I am continuing on the path that I set for myself. So hopefully you got something to take away from this. Hopefully you try it out for yourself. And if not, write it down for later. Save it. Maybe it'll come in handy later. All right.